Oh, good Thursday to Tennessee Valley and everyone else who may be watching this video. It is 7:38 at the time of recording. Hope you're all having a good week so far and enjoying the spring-like warmth. It's just been a very warm go of it lately, and that's something that's going to continue here over the next couple of days. In fact, today we were starting out in the 60s. These are your morning temperatures. Typically this time of the year we're waking up to the 30s. This morning it's feeling more like a late spring, early summer morning with widespread 60s across the board from southeast Tennessee down into North Georgia and Alabama. Highs today, 72 Chattanooga, 70 Dayton, 72 in Calhoun. So as you can see, it's going to be another warm day. Now our daily record for February 6th at Chattanooga, the official recording station at Level Field, is 70 degrees, set back in 2019. Well, I'm forecasting 72, so that would break a daily record high, and we could end up shattering it. If we get some sunshine, it may get even warmer than that 72, so we'll keep an eye on that. But a record temperature or a record high for today is looking pretty likely, so it is going to be quite warm out there. Let's take a look at your radar, because the story of today is going to be some scattered showers and storms moving our way. It's been dry this morning, so your morning commute looking good. Mid-morning, early afternoon, north of Chattanooga, maybe some heavier downpours. Already seeing that moving in along the Cumberland Plateau in Middle Tennessee. So in and around Murfreesboro, heading up 24 towards Nashville. Could run into some heavier storms. McMinnville getting a good little dashing of some storms, and along I-40. And also have a little bit of severe weather to talk about, primarily across Kentucky. So as we take a look at your satellite and radar, right now we got an icy mess across the mid-Atlantic, places like New York up through D.C., at least north of D.C., and some snow breaking out across New York, central New York and upstate New York, across portions of I-95 from Connecticut up through Boston. Southern end of this, dragging cold front, leading to some severe weather across Kentucky. And we can kind of zoom into that because we're going to watch this front to see how it evolves, because some of our areas could have a little bit of severe weather a little bit later on. So here's a look at your satellite radar. Looks like we have a couple severe thunderstorm warnings along this main line from southern Kentucky up through West Virginia. Couple of tornado warnings earlier. Haven't had any confirmed reports that there were any tornadoes on the ground, but it does look like a tornado watch is still in effect for parts of Kentucky. So, we'll keep an eye on that, but that's pretty far to our north. But it is something worth noting because rain chances will increase, and the Storm Prediction Center has introduced a level 1 out of 5 marginal risk for severe weather. So conditions are going to be somewhat favorable for some of these storms that do pop up later today, especially this evening, to become severe. Low in threat, but pay attention to it if you live in Dunlap, Pikeville, Athens, really anywhere in this dark green shade. So Dayton, Spring City, Madisonville, up towards Knoxville, Cagle Mountain, Altamont, Coalmont, even Bakewell up towards the northern part of Hamilton County, Spencer, Decatur, all in this marginal risk. That light green shade, you see Chattanooga and Dalton in, that's just the threat for non-severe thunderstorms. So thunder, lightning going to be possible in those areas. Now the main risk here is going to be damaging wind gusts and maybe some small hail between about 5 and 11 Eastern time. But there is at least the smallest risk for a tornado, about a 2% chance within a 25-mile radius for Pikeville, parts of Knoxville. So as we zoom in, again, the northern part of Ray, Meigs County, over towards Spring City, can't rule it out. Spencer, really low in threat, but it is there and it's worth noting. I think the higher risk is going to be across southeastern Kentucky, southwest Virginia, and closer to the Tennessee and Kentucky line. So we'll keep an eye on that. Not something that you should be overly concerned about, but I always encourage our viewers to be weather aware this time of the year, because as we transition into March and April, our severe weather season starts to peak, and that's when we have these cold and warm air masses kind of clashing, coming together, and that's where you can get some of those severe storms firing off. So that's just what I'm looking at. And again, this isn't a big severe weather day for us, but there is a low in threat for some hail, high winds, and again, very, very, very low in threat for tornadoes here across the northern tier of our area. So let's take a look at our latest high resolution model. You can see by about 10 o'clock we have a couple downpours here and there north of Chattanooga. as we continue into the afternoon, notice the rain coverage isn't overwhelmingly high. It's not going to be an all-day washout. But then as we get into the late afternoon and evening, some of these red and yellow blotches start to become a little more numerous, which tells me that the atmosphere is going to be a little more juiced as we get into the afternoon. We're going to have a pretty good low-level jet setting up above us, and that's going to help some of that wind shear and fuel some of these storms a little bit later on. As we get into the 8, 9 o'clock hour, notice some of those storms starting to push into places like Murphy, Blue Ridge, Ellijay, even North Georgia, as that cold front gets a little bit closer to us. And then overnight, this starts to sink to the south. We get more shower activity across North Georgia. Severe threat dwindles pretty quickly as we lose instability overnight. And then through Friday morning, we'll just have a couple lingering showers. But I think by the afternoon on Friday, things will start to improve weather-wise. Now, as we take a look at your storm fuel, this gives us an idea of where the instability and most favorable conditions will be. Well, you can see exactly where that frontal boundary is going to be around 5 o'clock, moving through Middle Tennessee. Storm fuel, not all that impressive. Usually when these colors are yellow and red, that's where you have the really rich, juicy atmosphere for severe weather. These light blues means that we do have instability, we do have storm fuel, but it's not going to be overly impressive. But nonetheless, it's enough to watch closely as we get into your afternoon. And as we get through the day, of course, Chief Meteorologist David Carnes will be tracking all this out, so be sure to tune in to Local 3 News. And then by the time we get into the overnight hours, the storm fuel just kind of gets eaten up or erodes away across much of the Tennessee Valley. But again, rainfall amounts with this going to be pretty variable. Some areas are, and I think this is actually, let's see, this might be the latest. Let's put it back to, there we go. So this would make more sense. This is your rainfall, again, through Friday. Not overly impressive, but it's going to be highly variable. Where we get the heavier downpours, you could get a 1/2 inch to an inch. Some may get closer to 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch, depending on where the lulls in the rainfall develops. But there's certainly going to be the potential for some heavier downpours, but not everyone going to see those. But still, a good soaking rain possible for some. And then moving into next week, I think Sunday morning we'll have a little bit of rain. By the afternoon and evening, as you get ready for your Super Bowl festivities, things are going to improve weather-wise. And then look what happens next week. Monday, we get some heavy rain coming in. We're basically just going to enter a very active period of weather. Gulf moisture going to be very rich. The storm track, at least the southern branch, going to be very active. Heavy rain, and then snow on the northern end of this. New England and parts of the Midwest could get some decent snowfall, but not happening here. And I know earlier in the week and even last week there were rumors of, snow may be returning to the Tennessee Valley. That's why you can't trust those model runs that are 10 days plus into the future, because they're not reliable. It's just guesswork, really. And you can kind of look at, things, or at least I try to look at things with a level head and not inject too much hype into it, because a lot of times if you're seeing a model 10 days into the future indicating 6 inches of snow in Chattanooga, it's not going to happen. I would say 99 out of 100 times. But for us, it's going to be much too warm. It's just going to be a heavy rain day Tuesday, and even into Wednesday we're going to have that lingering front likely lift back to the north. So it's going to be snowy to the north and rainy to the south. That's the pattern we kind of set up for over the next couple of weeks. And here's a look at your potential rainfall over the next 7 days. We're looking at widespread 2 to 3 inches with localized higher amounts, and most of this is going to come in Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, especially on Tuesday. That looks to be the really heavy day for some rainfall. So that's going to help with the drought as we move forward. And precipitation trend, kind of a bullseye setting up of above normal precipitation across portions of Middle Tennessee, North Alabama, and Northern Mississippi. So we got some rainy days coming our way here in the future. Now let's transition over to the temperatures. We've talked about the rain. We've talked about the low end potential for some severe weather today, but temperatures are coming down. Today and Saturday, we're likely to break records, or at least high records. And then by Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it's not going to get cold per se, but it's going to get a lot cooler than what we've dealt with the first couple days of February. But overall, I mean, we're not going to have any major intrusions of Arctic air. The coldest stuff going to stay bottled up across parts of the northern plains, the Midwest, up into New England, while that ridge here across the southeast is going to keep above normal temperatures from Florida up through the Tennessee Valley and back into the Carolinas. So as we take a look at our upper level charts, which gives us an idea of what may happen at the surface, well, February 8th, we have ridging centered basically right over us, and that's going to keep us warmer than normal, maybe even lead to some record highs on Saturday. And then by the time we get into Valentine's Day, well, the ridge is flexing its muscles again. So we're going to have that upper level ridge kind of setting off the East Coast, and that's going to deflect any of that cold air from coming down from Canada. It's kind of going to stay bottled up into the Pacific Northwest and along the Canadian border. And then moving into the 18th, the pattern flattens out a little bit. We're going to get that Pacific zonal flow coming in, so that warm, mild air, or mild air I should call it, from the Pacific just flowing right across the country, the lower 48, especially the southern tier. And we're going to have warmer conditions. It may be cooler, but it's still overall going to be a mild setup. This is not a setup for southern snow. We need a big dip in the jet stream. We need those deep blues coming down into the Tennessee Valley, and that's just not what we're going to see, at least, for the next couple of weeks. Now, that could change, but at least through Valentine's Day, I'm not expecting any winter weather, heck, we might even have freezing temperatures for quite some time. But then by the second, third week, I'd say the third week of February, things may change a little bit. But again, by the time we get to the end of February, we're running out of winter pretty quickly. So if you are a snow lover, this is kind of the window we need to start opening up. And I just don't see that happening right now in the short term because, kind of just looking at, this is average snowfall. I'm going to delete that. Really no snow in the southeast through February 17th. The highest amount is going to be in the Rockies, the Sierras, the Cascades out in the Pacific Northwest. The northern part of the country going to get a decent amount of snow. The Great Lakes, parts of the New England 95 corridor should get a lot of snow here over the next couple of weeks. But for us here in the southeast, not really going to be a pattern conducive for any winter weather. So that's just like a breakdown of what I'm expecting. Not seeing any intrusions of cold air, not seeing any winter weather potential over the next couple of weeks, despite what you may have seen on the internet. But the story is going to be the rain, and we're going to get lots of it here over the next couple of weeks. So definitely going to help the drought. And that's just kind of an overview of what to expect. Here's your 7-day forecasts. Hit or miss showers and storms between 5 and 11. Some of our northern communities may need to be on the lookout for some stronger storms. Pretty low in threat, but it's there, so stay weather aware. Couple lingering showers Friday, but I think Friday and Saturday trending a little bit drier. Record high possible on Saturday. If we were to hit 77, that would be a new daily record. Again, our daily record today is 70, so we're likely to beat that. Sunday morning should have a few showers around, but afternoon and evening for your Super Bowl plans, things are looking a lot better. And then Monday, especially late Monday night through Tuesday and Wednesday, heavy rain and cooler temperatures arrive, and that's when we could pick up anywhere from 2 to 3 inches of rain. And at some point next week, localized flooding could be a concern. So that's kind of a general overview of your forecast on this Thursday. Hope you have a good day, and be sure to tune in to Local 3 News tomorrow morning for the latest. I'll be on from 4:30 to 7. Enjoy your Thursday.